Frank, that was some game to watch. 105-92, OKC was the final. They held the Celtics just 27 second half points, outscoring them 50-27. They bottled up Jason Tatum. My goodness, and SGA, 33 points, 15-game winning streak.
Yeah, and Boston had scored 65 in the first half of that game, like you mentioned. Only scored 27 in the second half. You saw that little sequence with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The chase down block on Jason Tatum. Then on the ensuing possession, the lob pass to Isaiah Hartenstein. That's when you're an MVP. You can make an impact on the game without having to score. Those are two huge plays. That was the play of the game, or the sequence of the game made by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And what Oklahoma City did over the weekend, they beat the Knicks on Friday, down 12 at halftime. They beat the Celtics on Sunday, down double digits. And now they'll get to play the best team in the NBA, record-wise, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Wednesday in Cleveland.
And, you know, they are the top-ranked defense, are the Thunder in the NBA. Did you learn anything about the Celtics in that game?
Well, you know, the Celtics are still a championship team. They didn't shoot well from three. They were 9 for 46 on three-pointers. They're going to live and die by the three-point shot. What was interesting about the game was Jaylen Brown. This is a guy that was a Finals MVP, one of the top players in the league. Second half, zeros across the board. No points, no rebounds, no assists. But Boston, I think in a 7-game series, I would still favor Boston if they did ever end up meeting Oklahoma City in the final. The experience would mean something, and I also think Boston had to get used to how physical Oklahoma City was in that game. You know, last night, Scott Foster, widely considered the top referee in the league, was officiating that game along with Tom Washington. They let those two teams play a little bit. I didn't feel like the Celtics ever adjusted to how physical Oklahoma City was. And like, you know, you're mentioning defense, and when you're a good defensive team, sometimes they let you get away with a little bit more, and I felt that was the case last night.
And you mentioned the physicality. Jason Tatum suffering a bruised arm in that game, too. He fell into the front row.
Diving for a loose ball. That's why they tell you don't hustle, you can get hurt.
Is that what they tell you?
No.
Okay. The Cleveland Cavaliers, you mentioned them, too.
Yep.
2 10-game winning streaks on the season.
Yeah.
They're currently in their second one.
Yeah, and the big key for this team, number one, they kept that roster together. I know they changed coaches, but everyone is staying healthy. So there have been only 4 teams in NBA history that have had a better record after 35 games than the 31-4 Cleveland Cavaliers. Think about that. 3 of the teams went on to win a championship. The one team that didn't is the one team that's had a better record more recently. That was the 2015-2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, who were 33-2 after 35 games. That was the year they were up on Cleveland in the NBA Finals, 3-1. They lose a game. Draymond Green ends up being suspended.
Yeah.
And then, of course, LeBron had the great Game 7. Kyrie hit the great, you know, the biggest shot in Cleveland Cavaliers history. But give the Cavs credit. And this is a great week. Oklahoma City gets to play the Knicks. They beat them. They get Boston on Sunday, beat them. And then they'll be in Cleveland on Wednesday night. That's a big-time game.
Meanwhile, not so good times for the Phoenix Suns. They've lost 7 of 8, and I had to read this twice. They're benching a couple of their big guns.
Yeah, including Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
15 and 18 for the Phoenix Suns, who right now are playing in Philadelphia. So it's been speculated that they might be bringing Bradley Beal off the bench as a way to get him to get off of his no-trade clause, because there's been a lot of talk about potentially him being involved in a deal. Now, Miami doesn't want Bradley Beal. He's got a long-term contract, but there could be a 3rd or 4th team involved. Phoenix would like Jimmy Butler. The only way they can get him would be through Bradley Beal. So there might be something more to that than just what's a better rotation, because I think it's Ryan Dunn who's starting ahead of Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal must be thinking, are you kidding me? I know I'm better than this guy. Maybe it's their way of telling Bradley Beal, you know what? You might want to waive that no-trade clause. Help us facilitate a trade, and we'll both move on.
Fascinating. How about the MVP race? We're always watching that. It's never too early to talk about it. And Victor Wembanyama, he has climbed up the official NBA rankings. He's in the top 5.
Yeah, no, the numbers on him are unbelievable. Nikola Jokic said it the other day. You know, this guy's going to be remembered as one of the all-time greats. Right now, it's a 2-player race between Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What will happen with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? He plays 2 high-profile games on NBA TV, like he did against the Knicks and like he did against against Boston than on Wednesdays on ESPN. So those big games, that gets the voters looking. And right now, a lot of people are on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Maybe it's getting boring voting for Nikola Jokic, but make no mistake about it. That guy, Shai could be the MVP. The best player in the NBA is Nikola Jokic.
Wow, okay. Good stuff, Frank.